Good morning, John Mack. How you doing this morning? Good morning, Mr. Butcher. Hope everybody's doing well. We just got a couple people here. I was messing around with my old guitar that I retired from active duty. As you can see, I've wore a light spot in the pick guard. It's thin there from many years of many shows. This is but the electronics gave up in the guitar, so it no longer did its thing plugged in. So it got retired from active use because they quoted me $300 and something to fix the electronics in it. And I'm like, no. So I went and bought a new guitar a couple years back, and now that guitar is all beat up and won't be long before it gets retired too. Figured we'd give everybody a few minutes to get in here and we just hang out and chat for a little bit before we start anything. As the title says, I figured out how to do the screencast stuff on Blender now. So now whenever I press keys or click the mouse over in Blender, you'll be able to see on screen exactly what I pressed. The cheapest way for me to fix it, the most efficient way for me to fix it, is just to buy a one of the sound hole pickups and put in it. The ones that attach here at the sound hole and change out the jack to the jack for it. So yeah. And I went, and even that to buy a decent sound hole pickup's like $200, and so it got retired because for $350 I bought a whole new guitar. The strings on this thing are over a year old, so they're really dead too. But this is my I'm just sitting around the house messing around guitar. Leave my stage guitar packed up in the case. Star Spangled Banner, yeah. I used to start every show with the Star Spangled Banner. Of course, I did it a cappella, but back when we were in Missouri. But it doesn't work as well in Nashville. But yeah, I would start the Star Spangled Banner, and then we would go straight into. We changed over the years, but we would always go straight into a patriotic song following the Star Spangled Banner. For years, it was we would do Brooks and Dunn's "Only in America," and then we changed to Rodney Atkins' "It's America." I did, and I laughed. That was great, man. Red Light's gonna love it. He is. Morning, Minnesota Maker. I forgot to say good morning to you. I saw you pop in there, but you got a thumbs down from him already. That's great. You know what's a good a little bit of good natured ribbing between friends. So some things going on. My my daughter informed me last Saturday that she's moving out at the end of this month, and so we're gonna have that bedroom freed up. So after she gets moved out, I'll clean it up, and then I'm gonna move all of this stuff, the streaming stuff, and my 3D printers and stuff down there, and make that room a as close to I can proper makerspace. And so I'll have I'll have the closet for storing my filament and all that kind of stuff. All right, well, I guess this is probably about as it's after 8 now, so I assume I started a few minutes early, to give people some chances to get in here before we got started. So I figure I probably ought to put the guitar down and get started on stuff. No, but you know, I'm very interested by some of the. I'm very interested by some of the 3D printed functional instruments, and I suppose when I get that bigger printer, I may take a stab at printing one. There's a lot of stuff that goes into them other than just the printed parts, though. So. John Max printing D&D minis. You gonna start playing D&D, or do you play D&D? Which my old guitar, another thing that's reason it's getting retired, a piece of the bracing. Something was rattling around when I picked it up this morning, and I was like, what is that? And so I shook that out of the hole. I'm like, that's a piece of the bracing from inside the guitar. Yeah, I played, but it was years and years ago. Man, my lighting is looking really washed out this morning. I don't even know where to go to edit any of that. It's just super bright for some reason. Is it on this side of me? No, it's on this side of me. Oh, I know why it's looking washed out. Never mind. It's because this monitor over here, well, both the monitors over here are on a totally white screen right now. Might look a little less washed out if I minimize some of that. Oh, now I look blue. Am I blue? Yes, I'm blue. Get this positioned. We'll go to the screen share. All right. This has been the latest thing I've been working on. And it's got a hide that one. Nope. Is that what I wanted to do? Oh, it's because I was in edit mode. Hide that one, and hide that one. And hide that one. There we go. So there's also a roll bar version of the new Jeep I'm working on. I've taken some of the things that I've learned in the process of modeling and building this stuff and decided to just start over on my Jeep. And so that's where I'm at right now, redoing it from scratch. It'll be fewer pieces, easier to print, easier to assemble. So yeah, you see the down here now, you can see it highlights, like right now I'm clicking down the middle mouse button, you can see it lit up. So we're screencasting the stuff that we're doing now, so that like if when I hit H to hide that, you'll see that I hit H, and H hides. So you'll be able to follow along a little easier now with the stuff that I do, because any keys that I press or mouse clicks that I make will be highlighted in the lower left hand side of the Blender screen. Hopefully that'll make things easier for people that are following along and trying to learn how to do this stuff. Because that is the goal. And so I had seen some other people's videos that did it, and I'm like, well, how did they do that? Well, it turns out that the Screencast keys function used to be built into Blender, but apparently it had an issue, and we may discover that issue at some point. It had an issue, so they removed it from being a default part of Blender, and now you have to install it manually. And so we might encounter that error, and if we do, I don't know what that error is. We'll find out together. Using my Chris's basement coaster this morning on my desk. I love it. It's an awesome coaster. All right, so what do you guys want to do this morning? You want to, yeah, Mellow Yellow Breakfast Champions, right? It's I didn't feel like making a cup of coffee, and well, by the time I don't have one of those cups to keep it hot, so I got to drink coffee pretty quickly to keep to drink it while it's hot, and so I didn't feel like messing with making it, and then I didn't think y'all want to sit here and watch me drink a cup of coffee quickly so it didn't go cold. If my soda goes room temp, that's okay. I'll still drink it. So I didn't plan this show out this morning. I got up this morning, and while I was thinking of show prep, the only thing that got on my mind was the Screencast thing, and it took me longer than I anticipated to get that going because I had to manually install the script and run it, and so I didn't do much show prep for today, but it is what it is. So yeah, I still got to hinge the doors. I got to hinge the tailgate. I got to build an interior, so dash, steering wheel, seats. But I left these nice little holes in the bumpers so that I can build modular add-ons to click into the bumpers. So like grill guards and winches and trailer hitches and that kind of stuff, so they can be just snapped into place, and it'll give me more modular options when designing it. The hurdle I'm facing right now with the doors and hinging them is I want to make Roy Holly's been printing some of my designs and stuff, and he expressed the desire to have doors be removable. So I'm trying to figure out how to hinge them, make them removable, and make them, when they're removed, not have any piece of the hinge like still sticking out and detracting from the appearance. And I like the idea, I just got to figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. I like the idea because it just, again, it adds to the modular nature of the design. Oh, there you go, Joe. That's a good idea. All right. So, did I put that on this over here? Okay, hold on, because it was on my other computer. Which pretty soon I won't have two computers sitting side by side, because whenever I move downstairs to my daughter's soon-to-be old room, I'm only taking one computer down there. My old computer that has some issues but still works for like web browsing and stuff like that, web browsing, email, and all that, will stay up here and be my this desk that we're at right now will become my wife's desk and my wife's office, and I will move all of this stuff downstairs and set up a more proper maker space downstairs in what will soon be my daughter's old bedroom, and then I'll be able to set up. I've got only half of that shelf is set up, because where it's at, the ceiling does this, and so I couldn't build it full height. So I was going to build it side by side because they have that, but I don't even have the wall space to do that in here because I've got exercise equipment, video games, guest bedroom, recording equipment, all that's here. So the downstairs is going to become a recording studio / makerspace, and that will alleviate two of the things from here. This will just be workout, video games, and guest room, and my wife's office. And my wife's office just is comprised of a desk and a computer. So yeah. Anyway, the part. Did I put that on? I did not. Okay, so where did I put it? I know you sent it to me, man. I do. I just got to find where I put it. Did I put it on the desktop? Oh Lord, if I put it on the desktop. Might be easier for me to find it in the email again. Good Lord. This old computer's got so many icons on the desktop, you just can't find anything. There it is. Okay. So let me save as, and let's put it on the USB drive. Okay. And then let's go back to the USB drive. Make sure it's there. It is. We will go to, where's it at? Oh, right click there. Come on. And eject. There it goes. Ejected. Now I'm going to move my guitar because I set it right in front of the computer. Plug it in here. All right, so Joe Paddock sent this to me. When was it? Clear back on the 30th. And asked me how he could modify it. And so I told him I could show him how to do that. So that's what we're going to do real quick, is we're going to show Joe how he can modify this, because I don't know exactly how, but he said he wanted to make it deeper, but he didn't tell me how much deeper or any of that. So we are going to let's save this and go to a new file, delete the cube in the file, go to import, import an STL, and we'll go to the E drive. All right, so here's the item that Joe wants. So yeah, oh, and it looks like I have to redo the screencast keys thing. Okay, so because I had to manually install the script, it looks like it doesn't save it in user preferences, so I have to rerun the script every time. It's okay, so that's going to be a pain, but I will do that real quick. Go here, go to text editor, and where was it? Open on the desktop. Open text block, run script. Go back to 3D view. There's the N key. Start display. There we go. Okay. So I guess I'm going to have to do that every time I start a new project. Unless, wait, let me go to user preferences. Save, just click save user settings and see if that does it. See if Screencast shows up now that it's, nope, it does not. Okay. All right. So, I didn't want to move that. All right, so you can see 5 gets you back and forth from perspective view to orthoscopic view. We're going to edit this. Tab into edit mode. I'm going to hit 1 on the number pad there. Z to go into wireframe view, A to deselect everything. He said he wanted to make it deeper without messing with the top surfaces. So, what you would do in that case, which Joe, did you want this little tray here to get deeper, or does it need to stay the same depth as well? I know the little like coin slots, you want them to stay that depth. I didn't ask you if this needed to be, or if you wanted this to stay as shallow as it was, or if you wanted this to be made deeper just like the rest of it. Okay, so go here. I'll show you how to do this, Joe. B for your box select tool. Select the vertices there. B for box select. And select all the bottom vertices. So now we've got the bottom of the object, and we've got the bottom of the tray, and now it's simply a matter of dragging them down the desired depth. That's it. That's all there is to it, man. By that same token, from like the top view, say you decided you wanted to make the tray longer, we go into Z for wireframe view again. Say you wanted to make the tray longer, you could just grab those vertices and you can slide it out. So you can make it deeper, you can make it longer. It's just a matter of manipulating the vertices. It is easy, man. It is. It's just a matter of knowing what to grab. So yeah, when you're looking at it, let's go back to its original form. Deselect everything. Go back into the side view. So number pad 1 gave me the side view so that I could see. And when I hit Z, I go to wireframe view, and so you can see by looking at the little dots. The little dots are your vertices. See these here; those are the bottoms, the bottom vertices. So if, say, I selected, the bottom vertices without selecting the bottom of the tray. If I did that, then when I moved it down, it wouldn't move the bottom of the tray. But you said you wanted the bottom of the tray too, so then you just back into wireframe view. You can see that these vertices here are the bottom of the tray. This one and this one. And why we go into wireframe view and we went into the side view like this is so that we made sure we only grabbed the vertices we wanted, but we went into wireframe so that when we did the box select, it selected the vertices at that spot all the way through the model, because otherwise you wouldn't have been able to select those inner vertices as easily. And so now that we had those all grabbed, when you move it down, You can make it deep enough to make it a drink holder. So it's a piece of cake, Joe. Really, just follow that, and you'll be doing it yourself. Now, if you had a specific depth you wanted to make it, show you how to do that too. Now, remember we installed the Measure It tool back on the Blender Basics video. You would select 2 vertices that you wanted to measure the length of. See? Selected those 2. Click Segment. Click Show. Which this thing, the STL, is showing as being huge in Blender. That says that's 7 meters. Yes, you can any STL, you can bring it in and you can modify it. The only thing, once a file's been saved as an STL, you'll notice it has, it makes everything into triangles. So you get a lot of points, and sometimes it makes models that were already, like if the mesh was a fairly complex mesh, you'll end up with lots and lots of little triangles and lots and lots of vertices to try to manipulate. But you can absolutely, you can import and modify anything. Okay, so say we did the Measure It tool right here. Let's measure the length as well. We'll select that vertice. Oh wait, let's do this from the other side because the full length is easier to do that way. We'll select that vertice, holding down Shift, we'll click that vertice. We'll click Segment, and it says it's 208 meters long. Select those and we'll segment those as well. And it says that's 77 meters long. Yeah, I'm guessing he designed it. Well, what could be is he designed it in meters so that he didn't have to use the scale function when exporting the STL. Because for some reason, Blender, when you export an STL, it'll make it 1,000th the size that it used to be. So I'm imagining he just did when he designed it, he just designed everything at that 1,000 scale so that he could just export at 1-to-1 scale. But it's just a few presses of a button to export it 1,000 or 1,000%, and it seems to be a little easier on Blender if you're modeling in actual scale. I don't know. That's just me. But yeah, if you wanted to scale something up or down, now that we got it measured, and let's go in here and let's change our unit of measure to millimeters. All right, so we selected the whole thing, and you just hit S to scale, and you scale it down. Which it's way off center now. Kind of floating up in the air too. So yeah, I mean, it was supposed to have been what was it, 200 and something millimeters. So if we were to scale it down, right? Yeah, when you first bring it in, it's because he designed it so large. Your default camera positioning and all that is going to have you like inside the model and everything else. That's why I prefer to model in scale. But yeah, so you can, you know, play around with the dimensions. And scale things wherever you want them. Right now, I probably underscaled it. So I forget what our exact measurements were, but that's how you scale it. You just select it and hit S. Scale it up or down. When you get it the exact size you want it, you know, stop and save it. Morning, red light. So yeah, Joe, it's that simple, man. Really. Z to go to wireframe view, select the vertices you want to move. I just hit B for a box select tool, select the ones you want. We wanted that. We wanted these. And we wanted that. Make it deeper. As deep as you want. No problem, man. So yeah, it just, because I mean, I could have done it for you, but I, you know, give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man to fish and he can eat for a lifetime. So I'd rather show you how to do it and then you sit down and do it yourself. Red light, I'm still going to make you a maker coin. Although I did have to laugh at the one John Mack made for you. I have not seen the update on it. Did you actually cut the box open yet? He pulled off the wrapping. So the black plastic around the box is gone now? I haven't been keeping up on all the stuff on Discord. I just get on there and get in the voice chat most of the time and forget to look at the other channels. John Mack printed it out. Good morning, Mike. Sorry to hear about your moving woes, man. You got you a place to stay? No, he missed his cutoff. As long as you get yourself a place to stay, man. You and your wife and your kid. Everybody needs a roof over their head, man. So, Joe, I hope that answers all of your questions in regards to modifying this STL to suit your needs. And easily be able to make those modifications, and good, man. I was afraid when you sent it to me that before I opened it up, I was like, oh, this is probably going to be something to be really complicated and like that tore up toolbox thing that Ben Craig sent me and wanted me to fix, and I opened it up in Blender, and it was a nightmare. It had intersecting faces all over it, and duplicated layers and all sorts of just weird stuff, and Blender's make manifold command couldn't handle it, so it was going to be one of those where you had to go in and manually do it, and that was going to take longer than building the box from scratch would have. Just now downloading Blender, huh, Ryan? It's worth it, man. It's a very, very powerful program. Um, you know, let's see. Let's go to File, New. Let's delete that. Yeah, it can be a little overwhelming. But once you start getting the hang of stuff, there is so much more you can do in Blender than you can do in Tinkercad. Now Fusion 360 is more accurate than Blender, but then there's other stuff that Blender can do that Fusion 360 can't. Fusion 360 is probably more powerful strictly from a design standpoint, but that's all it's really there for. But I mean, I've even been watching some Fusion 360 videos lately on organic modeling in Fusion 360, and yeah, it's going to take some time before I'm comfortable with it. But I don't know. We'll bring Cube back. Let's do showing off some of the things that Blender can do. We can go add modifier, subdivision surface. Let's go to 4. Let's apply. Okay, so I just did a subdivision surface modifier and applied it. Once you apply a modifier, it is now permanent. You won't be able to undo it. But as you see, a subdivision surface modifier, we just turned a cube into a sphere, and it's a sphere with lots of polys. So now we could take that in Blender. You've heard people talk a lot about sculptors, and I haven't messed much with the sculpting functionality in Blender, but you can go into sculpt mode and you can sculpt right here in Blender. Now it would be smoother if I had done more. More polys, but yeah, let me see here. Let's see. I forget where to go on this. Oh, okay. So let's shrink that down. Made a little face. So no, it's such a powerful tool. I haven't played around a lot with the sculpting inside of Blender, but it can do all the stuff that Sculptress does, and it can do all the stuff that 3ds Max and Maya and Mudbox, all those programs. I will say, if you want to get into the sculpting and budget isn't a concern, The ZBrush is probably the best for that. But again, Blender will get you there. It'll get you there slower. It'll get you there, but it takes longer. But it can do all the same kind of stuff. So then you could go in, say you were modeling something, and you needed to smooth it out even more. There we go. Another subdivision surface modifier, and you can see how smooth that is now. You can change your brush. Increase the size a little bit. Flatten. So yeah, there are different brushes for different things. Inflate, deflate. Just goofing around, but yeah. Let's see. Just grab, rotate, nudge. Yeah, I have not played with this at all. So that's something I need to do is spend a little time playing with some things like the sculpt tool. But as you can see, Blender does things that Sculptris does. Good morning, Robbie Mac. Pixel's too small. Just playing around. Not doing anything serious right now. I have to learn what all these tools do because they all have different functions. No, I've never played with Daz 3D or Hexagon. Anyway, that's enough of that. New. I'm more into inorganic modeling than organic modeling, but one of these days I'll sit down and and figure out the whole sculpting thing. I played with Sculptress a little bit, I don't know, a week or so ago. And the nice thing about Blender is there's constantly new add-ons and things being added to it because it's open source. So there are programmers and stuff out there that are constantly adding to it. All right, so let's revisit our little robot. Well, Blender even has a built-in video editor and stuff, and I have no idea how to use it. But so you could like make a little character and rig him up to be animated, and using keyframes and stuff animate that character, and then you can overlay him over the top of like real video footage, and yeah, it's crazy the amount of things you can do. All right, so say you modeled something like this little robot, and you wanted to take and articulate him. Let's do that. Oops, I grabbed stuff I didn't want to grab. I'll do that. All right, so what I usually do, and I'm sure it's not the best method, what I usually do is I will duplicate the object that I want to. I just want to move it along the X. I will duplicate the object, and I'll make it its own selection. That was hitting P while still having that all highlighted, and then separating the object. Back into this view here. Grab all those same vertices again. Now I'm going to delete them. And since we mirrored our robot, we can actually get rid of I'm going to delete those vertices as well, because we're modifying this in a way that we'll want to redo our mirror modifier. All right, so we just made a big hole in our robot, so we need to patch that first. Oh, and I just realized I'm not screencasting again. Dadgummit. All right, so hold on. Let's reinstall that. I guess every time I open a new project, I'm gonna have to do that. Text editor. Open. Screencast keys. Open text block. Run script. Back into 3D view. I'll get quicker at that. Start display. Okay, sorry. I thought I was screencasting my keys to you guys. I apologize. All right, so we repaired our hole in our robot. Because they removed Screencast from Blender because it had some errors. Hopefully it'll be back in 2.8. 2.8's got a bunch of stuff coming. I hope Screencast is coming back in 2.8 so I don't have to do that anymore. But because they removed it, you have to go in and manually run the script every time. So I had to find the it's a Python code, and I had to download it. And so then you download the Python script and just leave it someplace where you can get to it. And then you go down here to this little button in the lower left, and you click on text editor. See, Blender has a built-in text editor. It's crazy. And you paste the code in and then run it. And then after you do that, when you go back to the 3D view and you press the N key to bring up this menu here, you'll scroll down and Screencast keys will show up, and you can start and stop it right there. You can modify the size of the text and position the text icon, color, fade in, time out, mouse icons, box, all that stuff. It can all be modified. So just got to run Screencast, the Screencast Python script when I start a new project so that I can show you guys what I'm doing. So sorry about that in advance because I will forget. All right, so we've got our arm cut off of our robot, which will be our first step in doing something to give him any kind of motion. So let's see here, the best way to do this. See, I didn't plan to do this today. This is totally off the cuff. So we'll bring in a cylinder, which the cylinder comes in huge. Scale it down. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees along the, nope, not X, Y. Rotate it 90 degrees along the Y. Slide it up, slide it over. So this, we're going to just give him the ability to raise and lower his arms like that. I'm going to edit this. Flare it out that much. Just flare it out a little bit. All right. So we gave it a point of articulation. Now we haven't combined it to the model yet because there's a couple other things we're going to do. We've got this piece. Now anything that we're going to make as a positive here, we've got to have a negative with some tolerances over here. So I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate it. I'm just going to hit Enter so it stays in place. Hit S to scale it up just a hair. And that looks like maybe might be enough. Let's see. I'll zoom in closer here. Okay, we'll go with that. Alright, so now we're going to take this one. Oh wait, I want to make them the same length. Oh, with a little bit of tolerance. Okay, so back to that view. We want to sink it in as far as we can without sinking it all the way inside. Okay, so now we're going to do some Boolean operators. So we're going to select the peg coming off of the shoulder and the body of the robot. Go to Tools, scroll down to Bool Tools. Remember, we installed that. That's another add-on that we installed. And we are going to do a union between those two parts. Now they're one piece. And then we're going to select that and that. Whoops, I was hitting the caps lock key instead of Shift. Okay, Shift. That is our second part. All right, so now we selected that first and the arm second. So now when we go to difference, it should carve that out of the arm. Just like that. So you can see when you go into wireframe view, we've now carved out that hole in the arm. And we have a matching but slightly smaller, because we scaled this one up, peg over here. So being slightly smaller, it may take a little effort, but you should be able to push those together. And what we're going to do over here to make that even easier, hold down Alt and select that. We're going to scale that down just a bit. that should make that push into. Now it may be that we have to scale down. We might have to print it and test it and scale down that ring a little bit too. But you know, where we're at, I would give that a try first and see if you could press fit them together. Then you press fit them together and you should have a robot now that his arm goes up and down. But we still need to create the other half again. So we'll come back out here. We're going to go to modifier, mirror. We don't want to mirror it along the X because that. Okay. Well, see, this is why we do this stuff together. All right. You'll notice, I guess, whenever I made that Boolean operator and merged these two objects together, it made the new center point of the object here. We don't want the center point of the object here. We want it back on the 3D cursor. So it's Control, Shift, Alt, C. Origin to 3D cursor. Now mirror along the Y. Nope. Z. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't seem like it should be mirrored along the Z, but we're going to go with that because that worked. And we want clipping enabled because we wanted to make one solid piece. And we're going to apply. And then same thing here, we're going to Control Alt Shift C. Move the origin to the 3D cursor. Running no the normal add-ons that are part of Blender and that work every time. When you click Save User Preferences, it just runs them every time. But because the Screencast tools was broken and they removed it temporarily, it will not. So we're going to test fit this real quick. Let's see. Yeah, that looks like that's going to be a little snug. So let's go back to this part. Select that ring. We're going to scale that in until it's just barely touching there. We're going to grab this one and slide it in a little bit. And then I think we need to grab all three of these, slide the whole thing out a little bit. And now G on the X. Now when it clicks in, it should click in about like that. And you can see this part being the widest part, it should rub and be tight as it's going through this part of the cavity. But then once it pops through the other side, it should have some freedom, and we should have some freedom there. And now since I lengthened it a little bit, we'll have a little bit of clearance between where the arm connects to the body. we're going to add a mirror modifier to the arm. There we go. We don't want to merge. Go ahead and apply that. So now we've created an articulation point. Our robot should be able to move his arms up and down. I think when you print him, you'll want to print him. You could print it. I think you could get away with printing him with print in place hinges, and it may not even have to do any assembly. If you do supports where touching the build plate. Otherwise, we would take and we would export each arm individually, and we would export the body individually. But I'd like to print this and test it as one piece. But before we go any farther, 3D printing toolbox, because we may have some issues with some of the stuff we did because we did a Boolean operator. We have some non-manifold edges to contend with. So okay. It doesn't seem like anything major. We'll let Blender see if Blender can clean it up on its own. We'll click Make Manifold. Looks like Blender cleaned it up okay on its own. So now when we go back over here and check all, non-manifold edges are gone. Tab out of that. We'll check this one. No non-manifold edges, which is, like I said, you can have other errors and it's not a big deal. Non-manifold edges are the ones that are a problem. So yeah, we added some articulation to our robot. The T3D bot now has arms that move. So maybe we can add some little upgrades and features like this to the robot, and then you guys can watch the robot evolve. It's now evolved into having arms that move up and down. What I would like to get in and see if I can do would be a print in place functional ball joint. That, if I could make that happen, would be a game changer. Is anybody still watching out there? You guys are being quiet. I don't know what our viewer count is at right now. Okay. Well, Ryan's here. So, I mean, does that interest you guys at all, doing stuff like this, making, you know, articulation points and how they work? Because I think this could be used printed in place, because the supports, if you do supports where touching the build plate, I think the supports should build up and touch the you know, down here at the bottom of the fist and hold the arm in place. And then if you're only doing it where touching the build plate, it won't print any supports inside there, but we created some tolerances around there, so it shouldn't fuse that together. I don't know. Well, no, I guess you'd have to put supports everywhere and then try to break it loose, because the tolerances may be too wide and then you'd have droopage. Never mind. So yeah, you'd have to print it. Photo retouch. Oh, fun. 7 watching. Oh, cool, cool, Rover. And I don't think I said hi to you yet this morning. Did you just get here? Well, I was thinking what we may eventually do is we could articulate the elbow, we could articulate the knees and the hips, make the head so it turns. You know, we can do all sorts of stuff using just really simple joints, and show you guys how to do that, and then we can print them out and test them and see, and maybe I can get around to trying to print this thing today, and we'll see if it works. Rover's lurking. He's a lurker. Joey, it's a trash truck. It's okay. They're supposed to be doing that. Joey, come here. Come here. Just looking at me. John's not here. Good morning, John. So yeah, we articulated the shoulders on the robot. Like I said, I would like to see if I could figure out how to make a print in place ball joint that you know, you could break the supports loose and then it would function and function as it's supposed to, because then, you know, that would be opening up all sorts of possibilities. Like a print in place ball joint, you could do a head that's articulated like on a G.I. Joe, because on a G.I. Joe, that's all it is. It's a little ball, and then there's a little hole for the ball, and it pops in place. But I'm curious if it could be done printed as one piece, and then, you know, carefully twist like the head to break the ball joint loose from the supports. Come here. Say good morning. Say I'm not a morning puppy. Say I'm not a morning puppy. So yeah, if you know, if I could make a ball joint like that and design it to print in place, and then we could ball joint the head on this, it'd be kind of cool. So yeah, you know, this little project, I'll be learning some stuff and trying some stuff along the way, and the things that we learn, the things that we make happen will be you know, things we can carry with us into future projects and do more and cooler stuff with. Sometimes building something really, you know, kind of simplistic that you're just playing around with gives you that opportunity. Good morning, Trash You. I don't think I've ever seen you in here before. Welcome into the madness. So yeah, so we probably might be better printing it as separate pieces. I don't know. You could try to print it as one piece and then break that loose. But we did a basic joint on the shoulder, and it should be articulated now. But for right now, we're going to save, because we haven't done that since we started this. And then I'm going to go back to, so we did our basics lesson for today, and now, you know, go back to maybe the project I'm working on at the moment. How did you find us, Trash You? Which I got to say, I'm intrigued by the interview coming up this Wednesday with Country 3D Walter. I will be on his channel this coming Wednesday at I guess it'll be 5 o'clock my time, Central Time. And I don't know what he's going to ask me, what we're going to talk about. I don't know. I don't know if we're talking about, I guess we'll probably be talking a little bit about modeling and Blender and that sort of stuff. It's scheduled to be an hour-long interview, and I don't know if I can find enough stuff to talk about for an hour, but we'll see. Yeah, tomorrow. So the engineering issue I'm dealing with this, or trying to figure out with this, is a hinge that is both functional, removable to remove the door, and looks clean once removed, as clean as it does when it's assembled. So that's the thing that I've been like racking my brain trying to figure out right now, because I need to hinge this door in a way that the hinge can be pulled out and removed, and that this stays looking clean. I'm not sure how to properly do the geometry on a door hinge like this one. I may need to, I don't know if you can see that, the little arm located in there. Because if I could properly figure out the geometry of that so that I could hinge the door that way, then I could design it so that slots out like this door does. So I may need to reverse engineer this a little bit, because then you could slot that out and then slide that back in, and it would still look clean-ish. And we would have removable doors on the Jeep. If I can just put this one back together. All right. Hasbro's engineers make a whole lot more money than I do. And have many, many more years of doing this and schooling that goes along with it, while I'm not an engineer. Not by the slightest. More just a artistic guy that likes to tinker with stuff. So yeah, if I could work that geometry out and figure out how to fit it in this space here, and then I could slot the door just like they have their door slotted, and then when you slot the door off of the hinge, you just slide the hinge back in, and it'll be tucked up out of the way and still have a nice clean appearance to the exterior of the vehicle when it's doorless. Because Roy Holly, who's been printing a lot of my designs, expressed a desire to be able to print the doors as a separate piece, and to remove them if you wanted it to, have that open look and feel, like taking a door off of, a Jeep Wrangler. I've been trying to it's wrong doors. I haven't labeled this stuff yet. I need to go back and do all that. But I've been trying to make the connection points as I go on this. So the bumper slots onto the body there. The axles slot onto the body there. I need to make a connection point between the bumper and the grill. I've already made a connection point where the grill kind of slots into the sides of the front clip there. And then I need to hinge the tailgate, build a steering wheel, dashboard, seats. And then I can start building accessories. Like I want to build little lights that clip onto this bar here. And then there's spots for accessories to clip in on the front and rear bumpers. So I can build a bunch of different accessories for that. Maybe build a gun that slots in there on the middle, and that way you'd have somebody, you know, like a figure standing up in the bed and working the gun. And then seats that are removable so that we can keep everything modular. I mean, that's the whole point of my designs is I want them to be modular. I want it. It's kind of like a model kit that you can choose what parts you want. You know, like back in the day when you used to go and buy a model car, and the model car could be built, you know, 2 or 3 different ways right out of the box. This would be you sit down and you just cherry pick the parts that you want, whether you want to print the roll bar version or you want to print the hardtop version, say. And then you would add whatever accessories you wanted to the front and back. And if we have the removable doors and all that, then I can design different things that go on the doors, like those cool, like open gate looking doors that they have on some of the Jeep trail rigs and stuff like that. And yeah, just keep everything modular. You choose the wheels and tires you want, and they'll all use the same axles. I've already started on the 4-door stretch for it too. So you choose whether you want the 2-door, the 4-door, the roll bar, the hard top. You know, you just be able to go down the list, and you can have different grills for, you know, some totally different looks. Select that one. Just hide that. And I think the first one I want to print when I get ready to print it is this version. So still got to figure out the hinge thing, but let's go ahead and start building a seat. I'm going to go up here to create. I'm going to bring in a cube. Because we're working in this scale, it's coming in really huge. I'm going to scale down the cube, slide it out to the side to make it easier to see everything. We're just going to rough out the seat shape, and we will tweak the vertices on it to get the scale afterwards, and then slide it into place and then figure out how to attach it. So we're going to go into edit mode. Control R for a ring cut. Scroll the mouse wheel up once. S to scale before we lock it in, and we'll scale it along the Y. We'll do another ring cut, slightly up from the center. Excuse me. So let's see. Let's go into Edge Select. let's not do that. Let's do it this way. I'm going to face select. E to extrude. We'll extrude them up a little bit. Scale that down, bring it up. Back into edge select. Select that edge and that edge. Slide those back. Select that edge, that edge. I'm going to scale those along the Y in a little bit. Scale those along the Y out a little bit. Now I want to take a look at something here. Go to the wrench, add modifier, and let's do a subdivision surface. Okay, no. So subdivision surface was making some of the things soft that I don't want soft. So what you do when you have that in Blender is you create a crease. So I'm going to select all the edges that I want to kind of maintain their shape. Maybe not that one. Kind of want those to maintain their shape. Maybe that one. I'm going to try it. Shift E and drag your mouse out. It's going to create a crease along those spots. So now when we go to add a subdivision surface modifier, you'll see it doesn't affect the creases the same. So now if I wanted to go ahead and crease that. I wonder what happened if we went ahead and added those edges. Crease them out. There we go. So there. Okay. That's kind of giving us the basic seat bottom shape. And we're not going to apply the subdivision surface modifier yet because we want to continue working with the model. So we're going to face select those, to extrude them out. And I want to crease those. Wait, let's undo that because we want to slide this whole thing back a little bit, give some angle back on the seat. Scalda, good morning, sir. How are you today? Not the X. Y? Yeah, there we go. Extrude. Rotate all the way. I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. In 2 weeks from today, there will be no show. Tuesday or Thursday, 2 weeks from this week, because I have purchased the plane ticket, reserved the rental car. I'm going to get to go see my sister, the sister that I did not know I had until a week and a half ago. So I'm super excited to get to go down there and meet my sister. She's just outside of Dallas. Yeah, I'm so thrilled to get a chance to go meet her and her husband and her kids, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna stay with them. So I'll fly out Tuesday morning on the 28th, and then I'll get to see her Tuesday morning. Spend all day Tuesday and Wednesday with her, and then fly back Thursday morning. So who knows if I can get some Wi-Fi or something, I might pop on from the airport or whatever and say hi to everybody. Decrease those. Whoop. Dang it. Extrude. I don't want that one. I'm having a hard time grabbing the edge I want. Because it keeps grabbing this edge, and I don't want to grab that edge. I want to grab that edge right there. Got it. And I want to grab on the other side that edge. I'm going to slide those up so that they no longer intersect. And then I want to remove the crease. And see, this was something I had to look up the other day, was how to remove a crease. Good morning, Chris Riley. How are you doing today, sir? So I want to remove the crease from these edges. And so I had to look up how to do that. There it is. So in the N toolbar, when you hit N, this toolbar comes out. You're looking for edges data. If you added a crease and you want to remove it, select the edges that you have the crease on that you want to remove, and go down here to mean crease and put that to 0, and that'll remove the crease. Which looks like I need to do the same thing. There, 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 and there. The mean crease, 0, removes the crease. It's starting to look more like a chair. And Ben Craig is here too. People starting to show up. Now that I'm done with the stuff that I was teaching, and I'm just kind of playing around with my own stuff, working on my own stuff. Earlier in the video, the little low poly robot that we designed last week, I articulated the shoulder, gave it the functionality to raise and lower its arms. And now I'm working on my new Jeep design, and we're building a seat for it right now. What would it look like if I added a crease to that one? Shift E to add a crease. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. No, I don't like that at all. So yeah, today we've been playing around with on this seat. We're playing around with the subdivision surface modifier and showing how adding creases to an object can affect the look and shape. Because I want the seat to look to be soft, you know, in appearance, and so in the process, I'm trying to add and remove creases here, which I can see that one's going to be a problem, that crease right there. don't want the face. I want just the crease. And I want that one on that side too. Slide those forward. And then remove the crease. So go over here and mean crease to 0. There we go. That smoothed that out a little bit. And then we're going to go here and here. And we're going to remove that crease as well. And then we're going to scale those in, hit S to scale along the Y. Round that out a little bit more. So yeah, I was able to add Screencast to the Screencast keys to Blender, so can now share what I'm doing as I do it a little easier. That way, if I forget to tell you, which I forgot to add it back in. My gosh. You guys got to tell me this stuff. It'll affect your learning more than mine. Save that. And so yeah, again, I've got to add that again. Text editor. Run script. Back down here to 3D view. Start display. There we go. Now we got the screen cap. Down here, you can see the mouse buttons that, like I'm clicking the middle mouse button right now, and it highlights that. And scrolling highlights. So then when I do something like, I'll select that, left mouse, Shift E. Why is it rounding it in like that? Decrease the strength of that one. Morning, 3D Maker Kid. Bennett, right? Bennett. I'm among the many others who have to be like mentally reminded every once in a while. You know, 3D Maker Kid's Bennett. 3D Printing Kid is Mikey. That just happens because y'all's names are so similar. Sorry. That, and just like Walter, I got that CRS disease. It happened as soon as I hit 40. Well, most of CR10s don't have a bootloader on them. You have to like make a programmer for them, right, Chris? So you have to use like an Arduino to make a programmer for them to flash the bootloader. So yeah, it'll vary depending upon which revision of the board, which model of CR10, etc. Need to decrease the strength of the crease there. I want to remove it. I just want to decrease the strength. Smooth that out a little bit. Is that looking like a seat for a G.I. Joe Jeep yet? Alright, so we're going to tab out of that. There, you can get a better view of it there. And we're going to slide it over. Whoops, I messed up something. I want to slide just over there. And I'll have to take some measurements and stuff to position it properly and resize it if needed. Right now I'm just going to roughly get it into, rough position, and then I'll modify it as needed later. There we go. And just like that, the Jeep has seats. Like I said, they're not in their final position yet, or even their final scaling yet. I'll have to, sit down with ruler and G.I. Joe and make some measurements. And then I'll have to fab up the way I'm going to connect them to the floorboard. This is where the problem of me not planning stuff out comes in, because I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to do the taillights. just inset the face like that. Extrude them out a little ways. That's too far. Do that, and then I could go over here and do a new material, color, red, darken it up a little bit. We will assign that to right there. Viewport colors need to be more red. Okay. That way, anyway, when I go up here, wait, I want to, where's that at? I don't want to render any of the stuff I have hidden right now. So then, when I go here, render. Oh, that was a mistake, because it's probably going to bog down my system. So if the video starts getting choppy for a minute, it's because I'm rendering in Blender. I need a more powerful machine to stream and render at the same time, I guess. Alright, so there's the render of the Jeep with the seats added. Another thing you can do in Blender is if you want to see what the render view is going to look like in a live viewport. Now, I caution everybody that this may really affect the stream. If you hit Shift Z, it will try to live render. So I may be turning into a stop motion animation right now, because it's really, really processor intensive. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of things about different people having problems with their Ender 3. Walter was talking about it yesterday on his Country Time stream, and Neary's Chris Taylor was there, and he was like, "What?" He's like, "I got 4 of them, and they've been perfectly reliable machines." But Walter and his son-in-law each had one, and both of them broke. And they managed to cobble together one good one out of the two of them. And then Mike Whaley had two of them. Both of them had extruders problems. Pieces broke on the extruders. Chris, I believe you had a problem with your extruder. Fernando Pena's got Z wobble on his. You know, I've seen far too many reports as time is going on that they're just not holding up. So they were inexpensive machines that, when working, work great, but apparently aren't that great, aren't that reliable. Streamlabs just popped up some sort of, or not Streamlabs, but OBS just popped up some sort of warning. I think I'm killing my system with all the rendering and stuff I was doing, and it's starting to affect OBS a little. Joe Paddock has first layer issues with his, so yeah, I don't think I would buy one, and I'm seeing people starting to pop up with Anycubic Chirons now. I saw what's his name, PT3D. He stops in Walter's streams a lot. I guess he unboxed his yesterday. I haven't went back and watched his video yet. I still aim to get a Chiron at some point, but that'll be further down the road. But yeah, I tried to buy a plane ticket to go see my sister today, for today, last Friday, and the price had gone up to $750 for a round trip ticket, and I'm like, no, not spending $750 on a flight. Not when I could book it 2 weeks later for $270. I'm like, nah, we'll wait 2 weeks and I'll do it for $270. But the plane tickets have been bought and the rental car is reserved, which I go through Enterprise because I rent cars from them a lot, or used to rent car from them every week, pretty much. And so that got me up to the Platinum Rewards membership, and so I get discounts and all that. And so anyway, I went to rent a car from Enterprise, and they were all out of, well, just about everything. So the cheapest car they had available was a Dodge Challenger. It's going to be like $50 a day. I'm like, well, I guess it's only 3 days. So, well, 2.5, really. It's not even 3 days. So, yeah, I'm getting a Dodge Challenger to drive from the airport to my sister's house, and then from my sister's house to the airport. I probably won't do a whole lot of other driving than that. But I've always been curious what they drive like, so I guess we'll see. That was all they had left. Because the next thing that they had, it was either that or a full-size SUV, which would get worse gas mileage and cost more. So no, I was like, no. And it's just going to be me in a carry-on bag. No, the Chirons are not that expensive for what they are. $540 is the retail that I've seen on them. Which, when you stop to consider, that's a 400 by 400 by 450 printer with dual Z, touchscreen, power resume, filament runout detection, and 25-point auto mesh bed leveling with live adjustable on all 25 of those points from the touchscreen. No, that's and a 24 volt, 1000 watt power supply powering it, built-in MOSFETs for the bed and stuff, and I don't know, and it has a separate like breakout power supply for the board. No, it really it seems like Anycubic did it right. You know, for that price, I don't think you're going to be able to beat it unless something comes out as people start getting them that they find out there's something that's problematic about the machine. Um, but 3D Maker Noob Joe, um, he did a 9-day long print on it, and it looked beautiful. So he's putting it through its paces right now to do an actual review on, and and then I'm seeing YouTube videos starting to pop up with people getting theirs, and so I would still kind of like to get one, but that's going to be further down the road. Right, Chris? Yeah, man. Where have you been? Yeah, Anycubic looks like they did it right. It looks like they're really late to the party as far as the CR10 clones go, but it seems like they sat back and waited for all the complaints that people had about the CR10, and then they built their machine to address all of those issues right from the get-go. 25-point auto mesh bed leveling on a 400 by 400 bed. Awesome. Coming in at a price under what Creality's trying to sell their CRX for. Now, granted, the CRX is a dual extruder, but the CRX doesn't have auto bed leveling. It's 300 by 300 by 400. You know, and the CRX is $800. You could add dual extrusion to the Chiron and not have $800 in it. So if dual extrusion is really something you really had to have, you'd still be under $800, and you could add dual extrusion to it, and you'd still have your 25-point auto mesh bed leveling. Yeah, so it will probe 25 points on that 400 by 400 bed, and then on the touch screen you can live adjust all 25 of those points, up or down. It really kind of makes it a non-issue if your bed's a little bit warped or whatever. I mean, obviously you'd have an issue if your bed was massively warped, but 3D Maker Noob said that the 25-point auto bed leveling worked beautifully. They don't have a smaller version of the Chiron yet, but I'm sure I'm sure they'll get around to it. AlphaWise just released a new printer on GearBest as well. The AlphaWise, was it A1? I don't know. It's 300 by 300 by 300 and looks like it looks very similar to a JG Aurora A5. Even comes in black or blue like the JG Aurora does. Morning, 3D Printing Trucker. Yeah, I know I'm running past my time or whatever, but I guess nothing's a hard and fast rule about that. As long as you guys are here and enjoying the hang, and until I got to go do some stuff, and I do have to go do some stuff fairly soon. But figure while I'm going to be working on this anyway, I might as well keep streaming and talk to you guys. $127. What site were you on, Joe? Whoops. But no, the Anycubic you're on, it's $540 for the printer. But I'm sure somebody's out there's got free shipping on it. Whatever site you were on, uh, Joe. And if they don't yet, whenever GearBest gets a hold of it. Morning, Jesse Foreman. Thank you, sir. No, gosh, did that wrong. Move that. Go here. That one. Here. Nope, wrong one. Move that. There we go. Select that. That's what I wanted to do. Material 10. Assign. And that. Material 10. Assign. I'm glad Chris can be here for you, Rover, because I have no idea how to help you in any of that stuff. I, knock on wood, haven't had to do any firmware stuff yet. I'm sure I will. I'm sure I should. I should probably be like looking to update the firmware on both of my machines. I have not done so. All right, so Jeep is coming together. And again, try and keep everything in a modular nature. If you don't want the lights on the roll bar, then you don't have to have the lights on the roll bar, because they're just little clip-on deals that clip on the roll bar. Now, one thing that I'm absolutely atrocious at designing is weapons. I don't know why I can't design weapons to save my life, and maybe it's because I've never been a guy that's been into guns. But I can't design reasonable looking weapons at all. So I need to sit down and study some pictures of stuff and try to emulate some of the things that I find that I like, and because I want to put a little clip on it where it would clip on just like these lights do in the center of the roll bar. I just killed my dumpster. It's okay. I need to print another one anyway. A little turret gun like this. So, I don't know. I may even sit down and try to more or less kind of copy some of the stuff this has going on it. Maybe not exact for sure, but some of the same concept. And have it be able to clip on and mount right there. And then a figure standing in the bed here in the back could be operating the gun. Just like in this. for scale, I've been using this to measure off of. I guess they're kind of similar. And it's got a cannon that pops up on it, but not a place for someone to stand. It just pops up. This is more complicated than anything I want to get into. This has all sorts of springs and latches and stuff that it hides. And then when you slide it forward, it pops it up. But I do like the deployable windshield armor. I do like that about this. So anyhow, yeah, I've been using this for scale for my Jeep because I like the scale of this. It's nice and wide and kind of blocky, you know, but it's got some heft to it, and so I've been using it to kind of. I want my Jeep to be in line scale wise with this. This is the Steel Crusher is what this is called. This was a toy based off of the G.I. Joe movie, that the first G.I. Joe movie with Channing Tatum, which the movie was awful, terrible. Channing Tatum, stay away from my childhood. You are not Duke, sir. You will never be Duke. Duke is cooler than you are. Kind of, but it's a Hummer. It's a Hummer H2 with the Cobra logo on it. I got this. I picked this up at Goodwill for 99 cents. One complete sells on eBay for 80, 90 bucks. I'm missing the driver, and I'm missing there's a like plow that goes in front. I'm missing that. This is a little bent up. I'm missing the driver, I'm missing the plow, but both of the removable little red missiles were still in the little side compartments there. So I wasn't even missing the missiles. 99 cents, Goodwill. Certainly worth that. Worth every penny of that. Because like I said, complete, they go for 80, 90 bucks on eBay. Yeah, you're right. The A-Team would drive a Hummer if it was created now. Either that or they'd be in a big like Sprinter van. So yeah, today we built seats, we built lights for the roll bar. Now, one thing I noticed, we added taillights. Yeah, we added taillights. One thing I noticed is that building a steering wheel at this scale and then successfully 3D printing it is really tough. So let's save this. Open. Did I save steering wheel in the components? I did. I did. Now, I need to beef the steering wheel up a little bit, because this is a steering wheel I used for the truck, which mine is now the crushed truck. because my grandson is a little hard on stuff. So I need to beef it up in some areas, and then we'll use it on the Jeep as well. So we'll thicken that up. It'll make it a lot easier when I get that out of the way. All right. Beef that up. Yeah, a lot of assembly required. Why is it selecting? I don't know. Beef that up a little bit and see if that doesn't make it a little. Oopsie. Overlooked that. That was almost bad. Beef that up a little bit. Well, there's something I want to do different. No, I didn't move all of them. It just moved that one. Well, I believe that means that my stream is about to come to a conclusion. That is my wife calling, and so I'm going to have to get off of here and call her back. All right, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me today. We articulated a robot. We built a seat in the Jeep and added roll bar lights and tail lights, and just generally hung out and talked. And it's always good to talk to you guys. Always good to hang with you. But I got to get off of here and call her back because we're supposed to be doing some stuff today that she's probably wanting to talk to me about. So anyhow, appreciate you guys as always. I love you. Thank you all for coming by. Y'all be good to each other, and we'll see you all on Thursday morning.